I'm Valerie Montgomery, 3-year cancer survivor now myself. I had the opportunity to sit in this chair 2 years ago and tell my story. Today I'm here to talk about the story of an amazing, strong man, my husband and best friend, Bile Montgomery. In March of 2013, Bile was not feeling so great, had about 3 weeks of just really not feeling well, tired, no other symptoms other than tired. And on the day of my daughter's skating carnival, decided that it was going to get worse. He needed to go to Emerge. So late in the afternoon, that was where we headed, Emerge. March 25th of 2013, we heard that word, cholangiocarcinoma. And Bile and I just looked at one another and said, what is that? So cholangiocarcinoma is a big word for bile duct cancer, which is a very rare cancer and very unknown. Symptoms are not very clear until it's too late, and the stages are very advanced. So our initial reaction was, 3 years ago, my thoughts were, oh no, how do I leave my husband with my 3 girls on his own? Our initial reaction this year was, oh no, the roles have reversed. And who would have thought a poor little family would have to do that twice at such a young age? Bile was 42 years old and was told he would probably have a year or 2 to live. And there was nothing they could do. From emergency, we went to a doctor in Princess Margaret Hospital in Toronto. He was the best in the area. So we went there first week of April to have any fluids or bile drained from his system. We went for a day surgery on April 7th, and the day surgery ended up being 16 days in the hospital. And procedure after procedure, test after test, Bile was never going to get better. There was nothing they could do. So after his 16 days, he went home and feeling pretty rough. And we went from there, went to Kingston, to my medical oncologist. Now, the medical oncologist that was mine is now the family oncologist. Who could ever say that? So we went to Kingston, and within the day, our doctor there had diagnosed him with an infection that could never be cured. It could never go away. He turned so jaundiced, so yellow. That was one of his only symptoms, was jaundice. His skin was so yellow, his eyes were so yellow, and it was from the infection that could never be cured. Our plan was to start a regimen of 2 weeks on chemotherapy, 1 week off. 2 weeks being 2 Wednesdays in a row. Bile would spend the day in the chemo room in Kingston General Hospital and try our darndest to just slow the cancer down. After 3 sets of those treatments, he had to do another CAT scan, and just to see where the cancer had gone. If the chemo was working, we would continue on. If the chemo didn't do a thing, there was nothing else they could do. So his very first week, They told him he would have symptoms of nausea, even to the extreme of vomiting. He would be very tired, very low energy. He would just basically be drained and in his bed or chair. So, thinking that's what we were going to have to be prepared for, again, when I did this, we prepared schedules, we had people looking after us and helping everywhere we could, anything needed. We had family and friends to help. We prepared that again, with the exception of Bill doing fantastic. The chemo had done absolutely nothing, and it had spread to multiple spots, and there was nothing that they could do but try to alleviate some pain, because sure enough, now the pain set in. Pain meds weren't working for him. He was uncomfortable day in and day out, and nothing was working. So we then, of course, had to think of, in the future's sake, we have 3 small girls, and they needed to be prepared for what was going to happen. So good old mom got the duty of taking the girls out and letting them know that dad was never going to get better. After preparing the girls, thinking we had some time, the doctors had now given Bill, instead of 1 to 2 years, gave him 6 months to a year. So we tried to prepare for trips, or just spending as much time as we could as a family. The girls were told on a Tuesday. On the Friday, I brought Bill to Belleville General Hospital Emerge at 12:30 at night, and that's where he stayed. Doctors started treatments to just make him comfortable. I really and truly thought he was coming home. I didn't think that we were going to spend our last days in the hospital. So we had an okay weekend in the hospital. They managed Bill's pain quite well. He still was the same Bill. He was always full of life, always made everyone joke and laugh, and always had funny things to say. And that never went away until Wednesday, July 31st. And he didn't wake up. The girls and I drove from our home on the 31st, going to say goodbye to Dad. And we didn't make it. I instantly thought he had to go alone. And that's so unfair. But it was out of my hands. I tried to think of something positive out of every negative in my life. And my positive was, at least he's not suffering anymore. No one in this world deserves to suffer. And although I miss him every day, terribly, I know that he's at least well and not in pain.
On the Tuesday that we got the phone call that he wasn't waking up, I was scared, and it was the hardest thing I had ever heard. that they couldn't wake him up. I was hoping that I got to say goodbye and that he knew I was proud of him for holding on as long as he could. But when we got there, he was already gone. I want him to know now that I am proud of him and that he will always be with us.
We got to, from all Dad's jokes, we got to laugh as a family. We continued on, but tried to make him feel like nothing was going on and you can go through this like nothing will happen. You tried your best and you went on as long as you could, and I'm proud of you. And I really miss you.
Hey Dad, I learned how to ride my bike this week. I wish you were here. I want you now. I write in my journal for you. I want to remember the days that we had together. I love you, Dad.
Cholangiocarcinoma is a cancer that it just happens so fast. And we don't have warnings. We didn't have a warning. And I wish that there were ways that we could help other people to find these cures or find these warnings so other people have the time that we didn't get. Because we really didn't get the time.